Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest and my avid guest. One of her advocacy helping seniors retire with financial freedom, no other than Miss Ann Pells.
Hello.
Welcome back, Miss Ann, once again. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
I love making financial solutions really easy for people. So things to be easy, like a good recipe that you know is going to work out great. And I love chocolate. So any chocolate recipes are my favorite, but money recipes come in second. And I think that's because I really, really like to see people just enjoying the things that are really matter to them, how they want to spend their time, their money, their family, and other important relationships. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, and thank you, Miss Anne, for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you. And today let's talk about how to get up to 250K business funding at a
Mhm.
0% for 12 months with one phone call. So tell us what it's all about, Miss Anne.
We were introduced to this just a couple of years ago. We had been looking for ways to buy businesses and to grow the ones that we already had. And the reason for that is that I wanted to have what they call mailbox money or money just coming in every month. And this was a way for us to do that. We're on our way to purchasing several different businesses now in a lot of different industries. And we consult people to help them grow their businesses as well. Sometimes people don't want to sell them, they just want to grow them. And we have hundreds and hundreds of tips to do that now. But the first thing that happened as far as our business growth was being able to access that 0% interest for up to 12 months' time. And because my husband and I are business partners, each of us could have up to 250,000. So it was really, really easy and one of the best financial recipes I've been able to participate in and talk to people about. So it's not for everyone, but for us, it made a huge difference, and it's been helping a lot of people for quite a few years now. So,
Interesting, Miss Anne. So let's address the elephant in the room. 0% interest for 12 months sounds too good to be true. What is the fundamental business model for this lender on this scenario that allows them to offer such terms?
um, they of course want to earn your business, and it's really competitive. People can find lots of different ways to fund businesses. If you're not looking for 0% interest, you can go with partners or other. There are probably 100 different ways to fund businesses. Some of my partners would say there's even more than that, but this one, the whole premise of the company is just to make it easier for people to get started wherever they're at. Sometimes um, in different kinds of lending for businesses, you have to show lots of documentation about how much income you're already making in a business. And for people that are just getting started, sometimes they won't meet those income guidelines. And so this was a way for us and other people like us as we were just getting started a few years ago to have access to good funding, but not have to worry about proving how much income we were already making from the businesses. So it can work for people that are just brand new, first day of business, and they help you walk that funding process all the way through, kind of hold your hand. So it was very helpful to me.
Very helpful indeed. So, Miss Anne, beyond the
Yes.
0% intro period, what are the real long term costs a business owner needs to understand and prepare for after those first 12 months?
And after those first 12 months, you'll have just wanted to be able to show that you're eligible for more long term financing. There are a variety of different ways now. Some government financing, but generally right now I'd probably go with private financing. There's so many good lenders out there and options after you can show that you've been in business for 6 to 12 months, and have a track record that you can document. There are lots and lots of good options. If people want to email me, Ann at lifegiverlegacy.com, we can send them some of our best options that way for people that have been in business a little bit longer or that want additional funds beyond that first 500,000 or so to get started. So
How does this specific type of funding differ from a traditional small business loans from a bank or SBA loans that most people are familiar with?
this type of funding didn't have anything to do with our personal income and credit history and things like that. I thought that was very helpful. They just wanted to be able to give us a leg up to start a business. And more traditional kinds of financing, there's a lot of ways to, as I said, to just document that, but this didn't need that. You can find out more about it at lifegiverlegacy.com or by emailing me. I I have had several friends use this for a variety of different businesses now, and all of them are doing really well with it. So it's just kind of a process of, I think the real key for anything that we want to do is just to start asking questions, find people who are doing what we want and ask them how they did it. Find out, like, it shortens
Mhm.
up our learning curve a lot if we can learn from other people and not have to figure it all out on our own. So,
You mentioned one phone call is the key. What a
uh-huh.
crucial preparation needs to happen before that call to make it successful.
um, for me, it was just a process of making sure I knew what I wanted to do with the funding. Like, you don't want to necessarily borrow business funding if you're not going to be using it and earning more profit on it. That just becomes more of a payment you need to make every month. And so a few years ago, we looked at this and we thought, no, that's not going to work for what we want to do right now. But then later on, we revisited it and had more conversations to kind of see what some potential uses might be. So that might be the biggest thing, is deciding what you're going to use it for.
The who and what, eligibility and use cases, Miss Anne. What are the
Mhm.
non negotiable eligibility criteria a business must meet to approve for this level of funding?
And mostly just being able to show that the owners of the business or the LLC, whatever legal documentation you have for your business, the business name, and um, a little bit about you personally. So more like what you would give for a typical car loan or a home loan type, those types of things, but also including a little bit about your business organization. Not necessarily what cash flow it has, but just how long you've had it. Is it brand new? Has it been in business a few years? A few details like that. So I think the initial phone call was about 15 minutes, and it's actually a pretty fast process. They start working on things within a week or two, and then we received that funding, able to use it. So
Miss Anne, is this a funding primarily for the startups with a great idea, or is it tailored for established business looking for scale? What's the ideal candidate profile?
that's an excellent question. I think it's for both, really. For us, we were just starting some businesses, but I know people who've been in business a long time and still use this and then use it over and over again. Because once you've paid the funding back, you can use it again. It's kind of recyclable that way, and that's really fun too.
Interesting, Miss Anna. So, what are the most compelling and legitimate uses for this capital? Is it for inventory, marketing, hiring, or is it restricted in how it can be spent?
You really don't have to describe how you're going to spend it to the lenders. We used it for all of the above, marketing mostly, some hiring of our sales team, and a variety of different things over the last 2 or 3 years. And it was just there when we needed it. If we didn't spend it, then of course there wasn't any associated payment with it either, and that was also good. So it just kind of it became very customized to what we needed, and pretty flexible in as contrasting other types of business funding that you might be able to find. So, and that's, I think, one of the main things that I've watched and consulted for businesses to grow now, is funding and being able to have a good way to market, to bring in more customers and have more sales and things like that. So this was kind of the engine to make sure everything was running the right way.
Can you share a real world example of a business that use this exact method? What is their profile and what they use the funds for, and what are the outcome?
And when we first looked at it, we were talking to people who were flipping real estate houses. They just needed a very short term amount of money to be able to put in that new kitchen in the house and then sell it for a bigger profit, or finish off some repairs on that rental and then sell it, or rent it out for a higher profit than they'd been able to do without it. So that was originally what we saw people using it for, and it wasn't something that we were interested in doing. So we thought, no, I don't think we need it for that. But then as we kept asking questions and looking for other use cases, like you said, more possibilities came to mind that would help us for the marketing and other sales that we wanted to do as well. And I think it's many people, I think, are imagining and dreaming of ideas that they just want to be able to try, and having that opportunity to have 12 months without any interest payments, um, opens up a lot of possibility to consider. So yeah.
Miss Anne, the how. Let's talk about the how, demystifying the process. Walk us through the anatomy of that one phone call. Who are we calling, and what is the key information we need to have ready to present?
That's a great question. That makes it very easy for people. Basically, we just needed to be able to show them our paperwork that we had filed with the state we live in for our business. And if we didn't have one already, they were willing to help with that. It would just take a little bit longer to get the funding, because we would need to establish that the LLC in our case, or um, in whatever state you're in, for whatever guidelines they have for the business registration, and then just being able to show them that paperwork, the name of the company, and generally the purpose of what you want that company to be for. So some of our companies are real estate investing related, and some are just marketing and advertising and financial services and things. So just generally that kind of information that you would need to, in order to start the LLC with the state that you live in. That's what you need to be able to give them. So I think we needed to give them our social security numbers, some general identifying information, and I think they just needed to show proof of identity, like a driver's license or another source of proof of identity for us. So
So, what is the single most important thing you say during the call to build immediate credibility and show you are a serious, fundable candidate?
that wasn't as big of a factor as just being able to show that we had the business paperwork in order, actually. They just, for us, but for other people who already have a track record of several years in business, then it would just be explaining what profit and income you have. Tax records and things weren't necessary for this type of funding. So that made it really quite streamlined as far as being able to start accessing that funding within a week or two. And we've done a lot of different other fundings since then, with since our businesses have more track record, but this was a good way to get started. So
Is these are primarily based on personal credit, business revenue, or a combination of both?
Just primarily on your personal credit score. And there's lots of ways. I have several good ways to improve your credit score and your credit history. So if people need to know about that, they can email me too. That goes a lot faster than most people think. Sometimes I think we things that we don't know feel more complicated than they are. And actually, I found that that's actually the most expensive thing that we all end up paying for, the things we don't know about what we don't know. And um, I remember, for example, in 2008, we had just gone through a crazy, crazy real estate time in our family. The rentals we had and the value the market changed, and all of a sudden the value wasn't there. And we were scrambling around with everyone else trying to figure out what to do with the real estate that we owned. And I remember someone saying, Ann, you can fix this. Don't worry, just partner with someone. If you don't have good credit personally, or you have other things going on in your life for whatever reason, whether it's like 2008 or the COVID pandemic or all the other things that have happened to people, just because you don't have what you need doesn't mean that you can't find a partner of a friend that wants to participate and would get some benefit from being involved with what you're wanting to do. So I lost like 10 years because I just said, instead of how can I find a partner after 2008, I told myself, I can't even think of one single person that we could partner with. And now I just really encourage people to, think outside the box. Don't be in a place where you tell yourself, I can't do it, I can't do it. Instead of saying can't, figure out how to say, how can I? And ask those questions. And how can we figure this out? How can we have better health? How can we have better finances? How do we strengthen the relationship, instead of saying, I can't ever get along with that person or whatever, right? That's asking that how can I question really open up a lot of possibility for us.
Miss Anne, what are the most common reason an application for this type of funding gets declined, and how can someone avoid these or those pitfalls?
You're right. There's really only one. And they're just going to do a soft credit pool. And if you're not quite ready yet, they have some ways to help you strengthen your credit score so that you'll be eligible. That really is all there is to this type of funding. It's not about that. Do you already own a home? Do you have more collateral and other things that you own? It really is just about that credit score. And they have a way to help you strengthen that pretty quickly after, if you're not quite where you need to be. I think the minimum they want to see people have is about a 680 credit score, but that can be fixed within 30, 60, 90 days generally for most people if they're not quite there yet. So,
Interesting, Miss Anne.
yeah.
And how long does it typically take from that initial phone call to actually having the funds in a business bank account?
And so that would be between 2 and 4 weeks, depending on how much funding. And then they'll do, typically every few months, they'll increase the funding for you. They'll start with a smaller amount and increase over the 12-month time period, up to the 250,000 per person that you mentioned. And so, like, our LLC is my husband and I, and so that let us apply for individual credit based on that LLC for each of us, up to 250,000 each. So,
Interesting, Miss Anna.
yeah.
Thank you for that tips for everybody, for everyone who's listening right now. What are the specific terms and conditions people absolutely must read in the contract? Where is the devil in the details?
Right, right. The fine print is, of course, that after that 12 months, you'll need to be aware of what interest rate you will be charged. But you'd be surprised how much of a difference it can make with your business activities in the meantime. So, the goal for us was to be able to pay most of that back, if not all of it, within the 12 months based on the revenue that would come from the business. So um, I think that's the only thing that people need to be aware of. If you're seeing that the revenue isn't quite where you want it to be, talk to people and consult with others that are doing what you want to do and having success at it so that you can get where you want to go within that 12-month time period.
Yes, you need to pay that in 12 months too.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine.
Yeah.
So, what happens if a business cannot repay the full amount within the 0% interest period? What are the ramifications and potential new interest rates?
Right. It ranges anywhere from 10% on up to 25% interest. So you just want to be aware of that in the fine print as you're getting ready and organizing your spending, income, and expenses for during that year. For us, it made sense to show ways that we could increase the income by using the money that way.
How does taking on this type of funding impact business owners' ability to secure other forms of financing down the road, Miss Anne?
That's a perfect question. This actually didn't impact our ability to have other financing because it actually doesn't show up on your personal credit. It just strengthens your business credit, which is a whole different um, business credit is not the same as the personal credit that you would use to purchase a home you're living in or a car that you're using for personal use. So this one didn't really impact that at all. That was a nice feature that I hadn't thought about, but it is good. It's not affecting our debt to income on our personal income or anything else at that point. So
And Miss Anne, how about what is the biggest misconception or mistake people make when pursuing this strategy?
Um, I think just not being prepared, as you said, for the change in the interest rate after 12 months. Really, um, I thought there would be quite a bit more interest, but there isn't. They're actually very inexpensive cards even after that 12-month time period. But you just want to be aware of that, I think, because it can catch up with you a little bit in a frightening way if you're not prepared. I think it's kind of like when you're learning to drive and you know that at this part of the road you need to take a left turn, and so I think it's just like that. You just need to be aware of where your boundaries are so you know how to stay in on a good path and get the result you want.
For our audience who are ready to take the next step, what is the first most critical action they should take when they finish listening to this, Miss Anne?
I I think just hop on lifegiverlegacy.com and find the button for business funding. If they don't want to go to lifegiverlegacy.com, there is a whole nother way to fund at annsplan.com. Very easy. annsplan.com/Daniel for your podcast listeners. And that gives them an option to have endlessly recycling money that they can use for business or personal use and get their house paid off really fast within 5 to 7 years at the same time. So that is actually my very, very favorite way of paying for things because it just saved us so much interest on our house payment, which was a lot more interest than the credit card payments, actually. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And Miss Anne, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and mental health 101 love letters in the third season, and movie 101 review, music 101 and fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in it. second season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Anne, finally help our listeners continue their education. What is one book that influenced your understanding of business, finance, and funding strategies?
I think my very favorite one is 10x is easier than 2x. And
Mm.
who, not how. Like I just realized by reading those two that who you talk to and get help from can speed you up tremendously and help you have 10x results. When my personal knowledge when we first started would have gotten me about this far, but being able to read books like that helps me go ask different questions and get different results than I would have been able to on my own. So that was very helpful.
Miss Ann Pells, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Just at annsplan.com/Daniel. That's how they can find out more. We love it. We're glad to help. So,
Yes, people, let's support Miss Ann Pells because if you support her or support the the business itself, well, there will be a successful business all around. So, Miss Anne, thank you so much for your time.
thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.